Hello there, good evening. It feels like a little while since we've done this. A very warm welcome back to 4-0 Sunday Live. We are back after what feels like a while. Pepe's just about joined us. We've assembled a top panel, all the talking points from yesterday to come, some really strong-looking player ratings, which is understandable. We'll take a deep dive into the business conducted in the January transfer window so far for Pompey, as well as we'll chat Peart-Harris, Callum, Tom McIntyre, and a look ahead to Tuesday night. That'll be done in the company of Barney, Pepe, Hayward. Gaz is with us live from Bournemouth Airport Departure Lounge, and my mate Jack Ward is with us to provide us with a bit of an external view, as well as a bit of a chat about everything as we head towards the Chasm on Tuesday. We'll start with you, Jack, top left-hand corner. Looking forward to seeing you, mate. Briefly, what are you expecting from Tuesday?
A difficult game, a pretty challenging one. First and foremost, thank you for having me on. I think it's the first one of the season on 4-0 Sunday Live. I think I came on in pre-season, so I'm going to count this as the proper season. Really, really glad to be here, mate. We haven't played each other this season yet, and it's crazy that it's already the 28th of January. It's quite a late one, isn't it, after the first postponement? But it's going to be a challenging one, mate. I'm not expecting an easy game whatsoever for two reasons. One, because you seem to be on the up, and we seem to be not on the down, but we're not on the up.
We'll leave it there for now and get back to more chat about that in a minute. Gaz, another adventure this weekend ticked off for us. Another memorable couple of days spent together. And I think we decided earlier on today that was your favourite of the season so far yesterday.
Yeah, definitely was my favourite. Obviously, thanks for hosting everything. Your logistics was spot on as always. And obviously we had great company yesterday with Andrew, Dan, Dylan, and some other people, supporting the Blues. So yeah, it was a good day out. Obviously, we can talk about the game in great detail, as well as the result itself and what it means to us. But yeah, obviously departing now, and I'll be back in 2 weeks for my sins for Carlisle away. So it's gonna be emotional as well.
Bar's going to be there for that emotional trip to Carl as well, mate. Looking forward to, I'll see you next weekend, I'm sure, but looking forward to that one already.
You say me then?
Yes, of course.
Sorry, my connection's crap tonight. Yes, good evening, everyone. Yeah, I'll be there in Carlisle. I'll be there in Oxford. After having a month away from away games, thanks to work. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Pepe's back with us as well. He's not been very well, everybody. Bit of man flu for Mr. Lacey, so we're delighted he can finally join us. What a weekend it's been, mate. Maybe not for you, but Pompey in general, it's been a good one.
Yeah, it's been a great one for Pompey. I feel home, Tom. I haven't been on one of these for ages. I've missed the football. I didn't go to Fleetwood. I didn't go yesterday. I'm missing Pompey, but I think I should stop going 1-0 wins in a row when I haven't been there. So. But no, it's good that Pompey got a win. I, on the other hand, spent the last 3 days in bed. My weekend in Plymouth last week caught up with me. But no, Pompey's more important. And great win, especially when Pompey were on top as well yesterday. To get that 1-0 win right at the end keeps top of league, Tom.
As we know, not just in football, when you're on top, you do have to capitalise. Pepe is a big advocate of that in life in general. Mr. Hayes as well, bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Loving the retro, mate. How are you?
Yeah, all good. As Pep says, it feels like a long time since I've been on one of these. Had a couple of horrendous trips in the middle of that, but we don't think about that. But yeah, looking forward to Tuesday especially, and it'll be a great show tonight. So yeah, I hope there's a lot of people tuning in.
And, over 200 of you already joining us, which is great to see. And someone else who's great to see is he's here for, as Pepe heard, I think all of you heard in the pre-show that we were just going to do a quick hello and then he was going to bounce. Yes. You just got back from, where have you been?
I've been swimming tonight.
You've been swimming tonight, have you? Yes. Have you
yes.
been swimming in Port Vale fans' tears by any chance?
Not really.
No.
Just in the pool. Tom.
Just in the pool. Nice.
I wanted to say...
Oh, go on.
Gaz, you're going to go in a few minutes, mate. So great to have you with us again. I know it's a long trip for you, buddy, and everybody respects you to fly from Malta for beautiful weather to this we get here, and the cold and freezing cold yesterday in Port Vale. So congratulations again, mate. It's really credit to you for putting yourself through it every couple of months or so. So lovely time.
Well, every couple of weeks at the minute. Every couple of
weeks, yeah.
Can I do my machine bit again?
No, we're definitely not doing that on YouTube.
That cannot go on the internet.
is we've got
Who needs Mourinho?
Who needs
Yeah,
Mourinho? Mourinho.
that's terrible. Other
It says miracle serum.
serum. Yeah,
Yes.
maybe John
Serum.
Messina. Miracle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Who's using the shampoo in your house then, out of the two of you?
listen, mate,
Well, it's definitely not him, is it?
Let's put it like this: it's not on my head, Barn.
Very nice. We're going to leave that there.
Leave it right there.
You're out for that because we're going to get demonetised in a minute. As I always say, thank you for that. You're going to use your Machino Pantene shampoo.
I'll sort my serum out.
As I always say here on 4-0 Sunday Live, we do want to hear from you tonight. It is your thoughts that really do make the live hour what it is. Let us know where you're joining us from this evening, where you are tonight. While you do that, before we do so, we'll go and say hello to some of the people that join us in the live chat down below. Napper's mum to start with, Wardy. There we go. Ryan said, good evening all. Got to say I'm feeling better after 6 points on the road. Got to beat Oxford Tuesday. The pressure will be back on Bolton. Pompey and Immerse says, evening, everyone. What blip? Still buzzing. Alex says, evening, boys. Buzzing about the reaction after yesterday's win. Also, how much can we believe the reports about Callum Lang and Tom McIntyre? That will be a topic of conversation, I'm sure, as the night goes on with us here on 4-0 Sunday Live. Before we get back into the conversation, as I say, do let us know where you join us from tonight. We're going to take a moment to take a brief look back at yesterday's Prevail at Port Vale. Good morning, Andrew.
Yeah, morning, Tom. Looking forward to this one.
Guess who's back in the back?
It's Gaz from Malta.
All I want to see, regardless of result, is us do some of the things we've been good at early in the season.
I think the technical term is we're asking all the right questions. And that is probably the best I've seen Pompey play without scoring in the first half for quite some time.
We're huffing and puffing, but we're not. It's that end result, isn't it? You know.
Our job is to suck the ball in second half, Tom.
Terry Devlin has been absolutely immense today. Please! Oh my God! And it's so coming for Pompey. He's got ice running from his veins. Number 14 of the season. Have some of that. Wow. The referee has just been chased off the pitch by a Port Vale fan. That is actually quite a dangerous indictment. I got a feeling you might have enjoyed that one, Dan.
Very relieved.
Wow, what game.
The most deserving, the most well fought, the best earned 3 points Pompey will earn this season.
Play up, Pompey!
Play up, Pompey! Play up, Pompey, indeed. What a day that was. What a weekend it's been. We started off with a Maidstone United fan falling from an upper tier to a lower tier at Portman Road, hoping everyone in amongst that was all right. Pompey were the subject of a viral video. We've just seen it there. Well, we haven't seen the full video, but we've seen a part of it from our vantage point of referee Craig Hicks being chased Benny Hill style around the pitch by a Port Vale fan. The West Brom Wolves game could tell due to some pretty extreme crowd trouble. And to top it all off, Pompey's finest, Bryn Morris, with a worldie against Manchester United this afternoon. One weekend of normal English football is all we ask for. Gaz, I know we haven't got you for very long, mate, so we'll probably start at the end and work our way backwards, really. But seeing as you were there, stood alongside me, I actually felt like the full-time reaction was unlike anything I haven't seen since Reading away. The passion, the pump in the air, all that kind of thing, running over to the fans, Paddy sprinting 50 yards, as I said. It meant a lot to them, didn't it? It meant a lot to us as fans, but it meant a lot to them as players as well.
Yeah, it did. And obviously, a lot of people didn't know, obviously, that even before the game, there was some rumours that Pack wasn't starting. So we were wondering why he didn't get off the coach, etc. Then we found out he was ill. So Tommy Lowry came straight in. He didn't even know he was starting until the morning, apparently. And what a game he had. And then we found out that Terry Devlin, of all people, was playing right back. And we were just like scratching our heads before the game. And we were thinking, well, this is going to be an interesting one. And then we had Harris straight in. It was like, well, we didn't know what he was going to be about and, what he was going to give. And as he settled in enough. But yeah, what a performance all around from everyone. It was really good. I mean, Harris, you would think he's been playing for Pompey for quite some time, not just joined last week. Because some of the touches he took yesterday and some of the balls he was distributing, really good promising prospect for Pompey for sure. I mean, the away end was buzzing. I mean, there was 1,700 fans in there, 2,000 fans in there bouncing around. It was really rocking and it was noisy, and it was a really good away day. I know it was scruffy on the pitch, and obviously there was a few incidents from the referee. That we can talk about, like the first challenge before the penalty. Even the Prevail manager said himself, the challenge could have gone 50-50. Some referees would have given it as a foul, some didn't. But he said from his vantage point, it was a penalty. Obviously from our vantage point, it looked very, very dubious, shall we say. But, in the swings of the season, some you're given, some you're not. So we'll take that yesterday. But yeah, what a day, that's for sure.
Gaz, you've covered literally about every base possible there, which is class. So that's Gaz's. I know he's shooting off. I know. What time's the plane leave, mate? We're talking sort of 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You due to fly?
Yeah, they're starting to queue up now. So I'm only on a small bag, just my underwear and my socks to change this weekend. So I'll be loading soon. So I've got about another 5-10 minutes to with you.
Fantastic, mate. We will say hello to Joanne, who's just become a member. Thank you very much indeed for that, Joanne. Much appreciated. I've got half T-Lop till 8 and a second half of T-Lop after 8. Logan, you're a lucky man, aren't you? Hello to Cornish Pompey. Said, evening all the way from Cornwall, enjoying the turnaround of the lack of conviction from teams knocking on the door. Absolutely. More joining. Bruce, stick with us. We will get to some transfer rumours later on in the hour, as agreement there from you guys that Peart-Harris is quality. Barn, we'll come back to maybe sort of the top of things and get into a bit more detail. That absolutely felt like the Pompey of earlier on this season, didn't it? The performance showing in terms of the Northamptons, the Burtons, the Shrewsburys, albeit without the goals. I thought we were similar levels yesterday.
Yeah, it looked like the passing was flowing. There was plenty of shots. It seemed all us, and even when they did try and get down our end of the pitch, it looked desperate, kind of like two teams from a different tier where you're just lumping it long and hope that you can break through, something like that. They almost looked like they were down to 10 men at points. It looked a bit, that's how short they looked in ideas. But Peart-Harris, how it's pronounced, he looked fantastic. Some of the balls he sprayed, that ball where he's hit it on like the half volley across the pitch to Kamara. I was sat in my office working, and it was it was unreal. Yeah, it's looked like Pompey of beginning of the season, which is what we wanted to see and what we've been sort of struggling not being able to see the last few weeks.
And from an outside point looking in, Jack, there is a little bit of concern, well, plenty of concern, I'm sure, in the fan base that Pompey didn't quite have enough in them to finish their chances, and on another day could have ended up in a ball 0-0 draw, but wasn't to be.
Yeah, I think from an external, it looked like the Pompey of old, finding ways to win, and that's a trait that maybe in the last couple of weeks over the Christmas period where it wasn't quite as straightforward. That was a trait we were struggling in. It was a little bit difficult. It looked quite difficult and felt quite challenging. And yesterday, you deserved to win the game. The penalty may have been dubious, but I think on reflection, you deserve to win that game of football. You created enough chances the first half. How you didn't score 30, 40 minutes, you were by far the better team. And in the second half, it was controlled. And back to the Pompey that we saw, I said in my roundup, it was the Pompey versus Bolton kind of Pompey. You're back to that level of control and a level of quality that the scoreline isn't screaming and shouting as a battering. But I think on performance and when you delve deeper into the game, it is a controlled result that could have been 3 or 4-0 Pompey. It was that good. And maybe the penalty wasn't a penalty, but at the same time, the goal probably should have come from elsewhere before that point anyway.
yeah, we'll get on to the penalty and what should or maybe shouldn't have been, and also some of the reverberations that had in my mind when it was given that, oh, actually, so many of those that we probably should have had haven't been given already this season. So we were due a little bit of luck, I think, on that one. Bottom line, though, Pepe, deserved win, as Jack's just said there, and digging in to find a way, something we'd associate with a Pompey side pre-Christmas, perhaps.
Yeah, it felt unusual for me watching it on like Soccer Saturday. I haven't watched that in ages, and just hoping that we'd get a win. And everyone was saying on Twitter, all the stats online were saying we were well on top. We just needed to find that cutting edge. And we've spoken so much recently about Pompey's lack of creativity and lack of not being clinical enough in front of goal. And when you're hearing so much on Twitter, especially saying, "Oh, Paddy Lane should have finished. Terry Devlin at one point should have had a few," and then you're just thinking, "Oh, we're on top. We're doing a Pompey. We're playing well, and we can't score." But then Colby Bishop steps up from a penalty spot and gets that goal, and it's those fine margins that take you up, really. And that's now 2 wins in 2, and that sort of got Pompey clicking again. And now we're thinking, "Oh, hang on, we're on to Oxford. If that's another win, that's 3 wins in 3, and we're back into it again." So. But no, yeah, solid that Pompey can win a game they're so on top in, and hopefully this is the beginning of things to come.
And it's something that I said in the video as well, Hayward, but the Boltons, the Derbys, the Peterboroughs of this League One season have all each gone to Port Vale and come away with a 1-0 win. Pompey have matched that, so it's nice to see us in company with close competition around us, which never normally happens to us. It's normally the way that every other team goes and wins, and then Pompey seem to falter somehow. But nice to consider us in that kind of company.
100%. And the thing is, we look at the league, and these teams do go and find a way at places like Port Vale. I mean, I said to you guys before the game, I was a bit worried about Port Vale. They seem to be scoring a lot of goals. Just in their like recent 5, they were notching probably average of about 2 goals a game, which we've been known recently to be conceding a few more than we had done at the start of the season. Obviously, Fleetwood we didn't, but Fleetwood, if you concede to Fleetwood, it's not a good day. But yeah, no, I think that it's good to be up there in that company. We've got to match these teams and then better them in the games we play, directly against them, like we did against Bolton and Fratton. So yeah, just good to see us sort of just just ticking over a little bit. We don't have to win games 4-0, 5-0. It'd be nice to win more 4-0 because of the channel. But if it's 3 points, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I don't really care. But I think it's been really, really key to sort of stop, I guess, the mini rot that we talk about. And I know it's been, dramatized because of the position we found ourselves in before, losing 2 on the bounce. But it's been so key to just sort of stop that. But not only stop it with sort of draws, we've managed to sort of back-to-back wins. It's very good, especially going into Oxford on Tuesday.
Gaz, potentially the last time we get to speak to you on tonight's 4-0 Sunday Live. I'll 2 things from you, if you will. Dill mentioned to me probably 5 minutes before the first whistle that he felt like he was in the Fratton end at times he felt like he was in the Fratton end in the away end at Port Vale. Just tell us a little bit more about how well you felt those just shy of 2,000 Pompey fans did to back the team. And we said we'd done as much as we could from the stand, sucking the ball in or pushing it in if it was the first half, sucking it in the second half. Please don't take that as an out of context 4-0 clip. And then also leave me with an Oxford United versus Pompey score prediction if possible, Gaz.
Yeah. Like I said earlier on, it was like a party atmosphere, in the in that away end. It's one of them old grounds, isn't it? It's tinny. You can smash the back, and it's all like echoey. And yeah, everyone was singing their songs out, and obviously there was good banter between us and the other. I mean, to be fair, there wasn't that many fans near us really, because it was a very poor show. And there was 8,000 fans on the day, and there was 2,000 there, Pompey. So, but yeah, we definitely made our noise and made the presence, and it was responded on the pitch by the players. They were literally coming up. Every time the ball went in for a corner, we got a corner, they were like, "Come on, then." We were trying to give it as much as we could. And in post interviews, we've heard it from Messino saying, this group of players needs the fans home and away, and that's what the fans are doing. They're selling out. Big distances they've got to travel, Fleetwood, and then they're going to Port Vale. 2 weeks' time, we're off to Carlisle. Got Oxford coming up. They're coming thick and fast, and this team, these fans are selling out away ends, and they're really buzzing about it. So yeah, really looking forward to the next one. I really do enjoy these away days. And my prediction for Tuesday, obviously it's going to be a tight, scrappy affair. Confidence is up at the moment. Obviously 2 back-to-back wins at the moment. So I'm going to go for a nice cheeky 2-0 win for Pompey.
Good man. Safe flight, Gaz. Thank you for sparing us a little bit of time.
Take care of yourself, people.
Go and get in that queue, please. Don't miss it.
Yeah, we'll do. Take care, everyone. Enjoy Saturday. Enjoy Sundays. Take care. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.
Gaz are joining us live from Bournemouth Airport Departure Lounge, which is an interesting way to end your Sunday, isn't it? But he will be flying off and in the air very soon. Let's get into a bit more detail on a certain man called Myles Peart-Harris, Barn. I had a little bit of caution on T-Lop earlier on today because I was singing his praises as I saw a world-class talent that I'd, of course, seen play for 95 minutes in a Pompey shirt. The close control, the passing, the power, the pace. He struck me as a remarkable young man with a ridiculous touch. And I think he's a different player to Robertson, but could prove to be just as crucial to Pompey's promotion charge towards the end of this season now.
He's got that championship higher level caliber about him, hasn't he? The confidence on the ball, a couple of overlaps he did with Paddy Lane down the left-hand side, I want to say in the first half, where he sort of held the ball, let Paddy run round him. There was one where Paddy actually got called for offside, but he no-look passed round to him. Like, the confidence to try that on your debut and do it really successfully. It wasn't like it just fluked and came off. It was really, really good play. All the things you just said, all those attributes, he's a top-class footballer, and we're very lucky to have him, I think.
Wardy, you were laughing at me a little bit, and I know that's going big, and it's probably a little bit of recency bias to have a player in that particular position, the caliber of Alex Robertson that preceded him, to then go, oh, this guy's really good as well, and jump on the bandwagon about that. But he's a talented boy.
Yeah, he is. I think we knew he was talented when he was at Forest Green in what was a very, very bad Forest Green side last season. So I'm not laughing at the fact that I think he isn't good and you think he's good. I'm being careful with you, Tom. I think we've all seen players on their debut look like mustard, and then next week, and then for the rest of the season, not look as good as they do. We've got to remember he's also there to prove himself in the first game of the season away from home. He's always going to. I'm not saying he's a player that won't get up for every game, but you know what I'm trying to say. He's somebody that is always going to impress on that first game, and also. He's also a player that suits a team that were totally dominant. And yesterday, it was the perfect game to come into. You had all of the ball, and he's somebody that could really get hold of that and drive with it. So, yeah, I think he's going to be a very good player. I'm not laughing at the fact he's not a good talent. I think he definitely is. And I just don't want you to next week say that, you miss Alex Robertson again, because, it was the worst news in the world a couple of weeks ago. It seems to be all right now. So, I think I hope he doesn't have a good game on Tuesday. That's what I will say. But he looked good yesterday. He did. And in terms of going into the loan market and being effective in the loan market, I think you've been one of the best teams at it this season. I think you've been one of the sides that have managed to get a good number of players on loan. I think we've seen quite a few teams go into the Premier League Championship market and come away not feeling as satisfied as you have. I mean, Robertson, of course, it hasn't ended well, but that was an incredible talent you've managed to pick up. And you've replaced that, looks like, with another really, really good talent from... not Chelsea. Where's he on loan from? Brentford. So you're looking at
not far off.
Not far off. I think he was at Chelsea as a young lad. I think he moved to Brentford recently. So yeah, you're looking at a good signing there. I think he's someone that, like you say, it's not the same profile, not the same fit, but this Pompey team have got that aura about it that I don't think you've got to have the exact same profile. You can sort of chop and change, and he's a different guy. He's a physical, well-built guy. I think he's going to be very powerful in that midfield, and maybe somebody that you don't quite have at the moment.
I cannot believe it's already 7:25, and we've not done anything that we've done quite a lot of what I wanted to talk about. There's 300 of you, over 300 of you joining us live here on 4-0 Sunday Live tonight. So it's great to have you all alongside us. Please, someone tell me there hasn't been a teaser released at 7:25 that means that the whole complexion of the show changes, because I was a little bit, there hasn't been, I don't think so. I was a little bit worried that our live breaking news reaction capabilities were going to be pressed here on 4-0 Sunday Live tonight, but maybe that's not going to happen. We've still got one more 7:55 slot to go, and then we'll see what happens. A little bit more on Peart-Harris, and then we'll get into more of the nitty gritty. Pepe's already tweeted probably twice as much as some Pompey players about how good the win was and how good the fans were. He's only here on loan. He's only been here 5 minutes. So I know the talent's important, but the loving on the socials is decent to compliment that as well.
Yeah, and I've heard I've heard from people that he was giving it in front of the away end yesterday as well, before corners, and that's what you want to see from a lone player, is a bit of passion and a bit something that they care. Because I'm not naming names, but it's a couple of players over the last couple of years that we've seen that couldn't really care, like they were there. But this lad has come in a week, giving it the big one in front of the away end, and then what was the first 5 seconds of Max's video? Yes, full-time scenes, and he's already got a Port Vale player lipping him off in his ear, and I'm just loving it. But what do they say? Never fall in love with a lone player, Tom. Never fall in love with a lone player. We did it with Robertson earlier. We've had it with Ben Thompson and players over. I can see the private chat popping off. Stop distracting me, guys. Come on.
Just don't know if we can have lipping him off live on YouTube, Peps. I'm a little bit concerned.
What do you mean?
Lipping him off. Giving him the lip. That's what we were.
Yeah, that's
for,
what that's
the one.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to. That's what we're trying to get to. But no, never fall in love with a lone player. And yes, okay, it's one game. Like Jack said, don't get too far ahead of ourselves. But it's nice to see a lone player give a bit of passion and show they care about the club.
Let's chat Colby Hayward. Talk about pressure. That stage of the game, the last couple of weeks he's had. And thankfully for all of us, I think including himself as well, he's gone from ear cupping to badge grabbing.
Yeah, I said to my dad actually just after the game, I said that is such a big penalty. Not just the fact that it's keeping us top of the league, not just the fact for the club. It's we've been huffing and puffing for 88 minutes, and then we've got a chance from the spot to do that, but. Obviously, the fact that he missed the last one, that was very disappointing in a loss that was terrible. He hasn't really been hitting the back of the net as much as he would have liked, especially from open play recently, and probably, to be fair, since injury. But yeah, it just shows the level of the man. 88 minutes on the clock. I'm not being funny as well. I was watching it on iFollow, and it was 4 or 5 minutes between him actually taking the penalty. So yeah, for someone to be able to step up from 12 yards, especially after missing the last one and do that, and it was emphatic as well. I think there's been a few times where it looks like he potentially scuffed a little bit. Some of the pens, they go in, it doesn't matter how, but that wasn't a scuff. That was cool, calm, collected. And yeah, I think that's going to be massive for his confidence. Because yeah, going into sort of Oxford and beyond, he needs to be sort of firing again.
I did have a bit of a section in the script for tonight, Barn, about Captain Morell and the shift he brought in coming in for Marlon, who had loads on Terry Devlin that I wanted to talk about as well. We're just not quite going to have the time, but those two are immense, and we'll get on to the player rating shortly. We do need to take one step backwards from Colby Bishop taking the penalty as well as he did to whether or not it actually was a penalty. We probably won't dwell on it too much, although I have got us a couple of slowed down and sped up. Here we go in full speed. What was your initial reaction?
My initial thought is it's soft, but anywhere else on the pitch, it's a free kick. It's one of those that you see in the middle of the park and you think, well, that's a free kick. In the box, the judgment shouldn't change, but it does, doesn't it? There's always that perception of, it's a bit of a soft pen to give, but it's a foul. He's barged through him. He's not got the ball. It's a pen. The tackle before from Shognesi is a strong tackle, but it's a fair one. Yep. He's not scissored him. His legs are split, but he's not gone around the player. He's just one leg's gone through the ball, and then the other leg is trailed behind. I don't think that's a foul either. Try my best to look at it without Pompey tinted lenses, and I think it's all been correct by the ref.
You don't think it's a pen, Tom?
I think it's a dive. And I stand by
that.
I think don't get me wrong, he's definitely thrown himself a bit. He's definitely launched himself round more than he would have needed to, but it's a pen.
What's the difference? What's the fine line between dive and clever? This is the issue we have in the Premier League. They'd be saying, he's so clever from him. He's got his body in between the ball and the man, and he's gone to ground. It's a pen.
I think we'd be absolutely gutted if it was given against us.
But
so therefore, how much can you celebrate being it given?
If it wasn't given and we were looking at that, we'd be saying, God, we're so unlucky not to get a pen there. He's got his contact with the legs. Both legs have gone. He's not touched the ball. He's run across the man. Abu has made his run across the man to make sure, here we go, slow-mo, look, knocks the ball away. Bloke, he's just clumsy. That's clumsy. His thigh's gone to side. The pen.
I tell you what, on my totally legitimate stream I was watching of the game, it had the Port Vale commentary. The lead commentator, let's call him Port Vale Moon, was
right knee on left
undecided. But the colour commentator, their ex-player that was commentating, I had no idea who it was. He said it's one of those things where if you've given the ref a choice, you have to lean that it's a foul. He's made contact, whether that contact is soft or not. He's made contact, and he's not anywhere near the ball. So you're going to expect Kamara to throw himself. Clearly Kamara needs some lesson in diving, because another ref wouldn't give it, because he has quite clearly exaggerated the fall. But the defender's given the ref something to make a decision on.
But that's happened at Cheltenham. Kamara's gone down in a similar fashion, right? And he's not been given. Yep. And it's a different ref on a different day, does or doesn't want to give it. I'm not being funny. I think the Port Vale players and fans probably helped us out a little bit there, wrongly. That the ref probably had in his ear for a lot of the game, thinking if a decision comes up here, I'm not immediately biased towards Vale. I don't think he's necessary. I don't think he's made a wrong decision though. You've seen the bloke's right knee, Kamara's left leg, Kamara's angled his body to go across him, knock the ball away, gone down. I think if it's not given, we draw that game 0-0, you're going, that's a pen.
It's by the letter of the law, jeopardy and dogzo, and none of that involved at all. There's no jeopardy. There's no... Literally, he's running away. He's literally running towards the corner flag almost there. Yes, he alters his course. He doesn't touch the man enough. Yes, he doesn't play the ball, but that doesn't always mean it's a foul. Wardy, I tell you what, let's come to Wardy. No Pompey tinted glasses whatsoever. We have had this conversation already today, but pen or no pen?
Yeah, it's a penalty for me.
Great, thanks, mate. That's really building my argument.
It's soft. No, it is soft. I agree with Barney. It's soft. I think it is, but it's clumsy. He hasn't made contact with the ball. He hasn't made contact with the player. Every player's going to go down in the box when I'm watching it again. He's not looking at the ball. He's looking at the player, and he catches his. I'm trying to get my left and right. He's caught his left knee or left leg. So I think, yeah, for me, like you say, it's soft. Is it a foul outside of the box? Yes, it probably is.
No contact.
Mate, there's contact.
His right foot stops in front of. Yeah, his right foot stops in front of Kamara's left. I think we're overanalyzing this.
The television camera, it looks a Stonewall pen. When I saw it on Twitter yesterday, it was a Stonewall.
I'm delighted we've got it.
It looks a bit different.
Like I said in T-Lop as well. Like I said in T-Lop, we've got the luxury of watching this 5-6 times in slow mo. This referee's had one chance to look at that, and I think if you didn't watch it 4 times and did you shout penalty when he went down?
No.
Everyone Benetton went, you know what, lads, you know what?
No, sorry. Of course I went, ref.
Put Kamara, book him.
The referee
get a slice of cheese out.
The referee in a split second had to make a decision there. And in real time for me, nobody can tell me in real time. Look, it is soft, but in real time that looks like a penalty for me. It looks like
a penalty.
It would be amazing to see the camera angle that you're never going to be able to see because it's on the opposite side. So you don't get cameras, of course.
Plus, it's also right in front of the assistant. The assistant is like 20 yards away from it.
It's too quick of a decision for the assistant to have any say on it. Derek's getting even an all brilliant result, but never a penalty. Port Vale manager did have no complaints with the penalty. You're right. Sometimes decisions go your way, sometimes they don't. Just went away yesterday. I think that's probably where I'd stand on it as well. Martin says penalty. Derek says no penalty. I'm being told to let it go and move on.
You've just gone Derek twice.
So Derek, Danny's my witness. I did say he's dived.
I think he's made the most of little contact, but for me, that's still a penalty.
To be honest, I think, I feel that it has changed from Kamara coming in on day one to now. It feels like a lot of his gameplay, stuff like, using his right foot more, going in and making himself less predictable. I think stuff like that, go across your man, go down if you feel contact. It's all been sort of instilled in him from the coaching staff. He's sort of changed in that respect. He's not a less honest player now, but a bit more streetwise.
it's why it makes me so angry when the stone wall ones don't get given for us. But
Yeah.
I think that you get a bit lucky, don't you? And perhaps that's what we've got. Some people think it's stone wall, some people don't. We'll leave it there.
I bet you're glad you had that in the running order. That was
going to be a quick go around the loop and go pen, no pen, and we're taking about half an hour on it.
That was a delete section. That was
a little bit. I don't really think we need to talk about the referee, the run-in situation. Quite humorous. I was saying at the time, it's a bit of a dangerous indictment of where the game is. It's all been a bit of a mess this weekend, hasn't it? But there we go. Let's chat player rating, shall we? Let's do that. Let's move on rather swiftly, because otherwise we're going to be talking about referees all night. We always do so. Let's have a look then. What are we saying in terms of this? Barn, do you have any complaints of any that you see? Lots of greens. Only one orange, and that's for Will Norris that didn't have very much to go.
I was going to say, yeah, Norris didn't really actually have a lot to do, like I said earlier. Their counter-attacks were quite soft. They had a few corners, a few shots that were blocked on the edge of the box. That's probably where, of course, we had a clean sheet, but some of the extra defensive points go towards Raggett, Shaughnessy and Moore, because they had a few pop shots on the edge. I'd say Peart-Harris probably would feel a little bit hard done by to only be 7.3, because I didn't see him put a pass wrong. Be quite interesting to see his passing stats if you've got that screenshot ready from FotMob. Other football apps are available.
Sadly not, but yes.
Paddy as well. Paddy I thought was fantastic. A couple of shots on target. Kamara's probably got that little boost from winning the penalty as well, hasn't he? So, about right.
Peps, any issues, or just happy to see all the greens?
No, it's good to finally see almost a clean sheet of greens and a blue there at the top. From the highlights and videos I've seen, Colby looked like he played his role well, holding the ball up and then moving it on, and then Peart-Harris switching the ball left and right. And then Terry Devlin as well. Not many people spoke about him. He started right back, but then I think I read a story from Neil Allen earlier speaking to Connor Shaughnessy how they sort of changed formation during the game when they were on the ball, with Ogilvie coming into a back three with Raggett and Shaughnessy, and then allowing Devlin to move further up the pitch, and he could have got a couple as well. So for me, from what I've heard, he was one of the standouts along with Peart-Harris and Bishop. So young Terry Devlin, he just keeps getting the headlines when he plays. He just keeps getting better and better every week.
And more broadly, Haywood, in I don't think we've got any qualms about play. Normally, there's like a bit of a contentious one that we could chat about. We can maybe briefly move on from that. What we can talk about is the absolute domination that Pompey ensured on, if that's even a word, ensured?
Ensued.
And thank you very much indeed. Yeah, Barney's won inaccurate passes from Peart-Harris. I can give you an overall accurate passes of pretty good numbers there. 20 shots, Haywood. Clinical, not really. Job done, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think some of those shots are probably, 20 shots, yes, but I wouldn't say that, probably 10 of those aren't exactly the best chances. I think on another day, Peart-Harris especially is the one that rings out for me, when he's running through, I think we're 3-on-2, maybe 3-on-3. And I just think another day he probably puts that in the top corner. And it's sort of a great goal. We're all very, very happy, even more so. But yeah, I don't think I'd worry. I think we're getting back to a bit more confidence. I think confidence has been in the floor a little bit before Fleetwood probably. So as I said, earlier, it doesn't worry me that we're not scoring 4 goals a game at the moment. I think, perhaps Tuesday we can put 4 past Oxford and we'll all be pretty happy. But yeah, I think that two expected goals and 20 shots sort of says it all.
Well, we'll get on to Oxford in just a moment. Nice little segue. Before we do so, I wanted to do a little bit of transfer chat, but one more quick mention for this man Barn, who was absolutely immense yesterday, as I've already mentioned, the strength on the ball. But the one thing that we didn't quite cover that I wanted to, and I think maybe you even touched on it, the very recent Premier League experience means the quality speaks for himself. Very rarely do you see a player of that pedigree come in after having had a loan already successful in the previous campaign under his belt. He did incredibly well at Forest Green last season, 47 games. So in terms of a transfer to come in, hit the ground running and mount this promotion charge, it's very much what we were after.
I think it shows the confidence in us from teams above that we're being given these players on loan. Your Premier League teams are going to want players playing in teams that are playing good football, that are going to get confidence under their belt. Brentford aren't going to want to loan him again to Forest Green, or a team like Forest Green, that we're getting absolutely battered week in, week out. That's only going to destroy his confidence as a footballer. The fact that we've had him, players from Man City and the like, that I think it shows all the confidence in Mousinho and his coaching team, that they can develop these players and give them the match time they need to develop.
Absolutely. Someone who we are hoping is going to be revealed at some point in the not too distant future, Hayward, and hopefully even maybe this evening or perhaps tomorrow or perhaps further on this week, is a man that Mr. Jack Ward has done a little bit of homework on as well, so I want to go to him on this. But the addition of Callum Lang, which actually in the build-up to yesterday, we're a little bit worried that it might be an Abu Kamara replacement, given some championship whisperings that were, albeit they were whisperings, they were disproved completely by some of the local journalists at Pompey. Would Callum Lang be taking the step up to be the right-wing performer in place of Abu? That's not something to keep an eye on anymore. This is just ambitious from Pompey, I think, to be bringing in a man of Lang's quality, certainly in the 2021-22 season.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. That's a sort of, transfer that, and I think I said it earlier, that I just don't think previous January transfer windows we've had any luxury to even be thinking about stuff like that, or have been. And I think this hats off, to Rich Hughes and the Eisners. The Eisners are clearly putting cash in, as the Pompey journalists are sort of saying as well with McIntyre. I know you'll go on to him. He'll be on championship money. Callum Lang's not going to be on small money either. And I think it's just, obviously, Scully and White haven't quite hit the ground running for us yet. We obviously desperately need a bit of depth in those wingers, wing areas. And I think Callum Lang will give us that. He won't just displace Kamara, straight away, I don't think, or Lane for that matter. But I think he gives us another dimension, and it'll be really, really interesting to see as and when that does come over. I'm just really hoping it's something that's done this evening or something we can maybe see him on Tuesday.
Well, you don't want to spoil the video that's pending, but what can you give 4-0 Sunday Live audiences tonight on Callum Lang and what they can expect from him?
In short, if you get a glimmer of what we saw 2.5 seasons ago in League One, it's a top signing and somebody who was a key ingredient in the league in the season where Wigan won the league. He was fantastic in that season. He was a fantastic individual player, much better on the right hand side. So I think it is a question over Kamara, not so much Lane. Having said that, I don't think he's going to come in. I don't think he's going to come in to replace. I think he's coming in to support and then hopefully explode. Not literally, that would be weird. But to come in and explode in a footballing sense, along with Kamara, who's had a fantastic season, you're going to have two very, very good options there. I said in the end of the video, without giving you too much away, sides that want to go up have quality and depth, right? So you've got to have quality and depth. You've got to have players that can come in and step up who are just as good. I think it's quite damning to the likes of Gavin White and Anthony Scully. And where do they look now? Where are they at in this squad? Because you're bringing somebody like Lange, so you're bringing somebody in who is not going to be second or third choice. I think Alex said it there. He's not going to be on cheap money. I can tell you that he's not going to be on cheap wages. He's not going to cost you a cheap transfer fee either. So he's somebody that needs to regain that form. I think he's somebody that needs to get their mojo back. He needs to try and find that groove that we saw in League One a little while ago. But back to in the position where I think he's much better. He hasn't been playing on that right-hand side since that season. Sean Maloney's coming at Wigan since then. They've had Kolo Toure last season in the Championship campaign. That didn't go down very well. If you get him back in the position and get that confidence back in a better team performing better, and you get an aspect of that Callum Lang we saw in this league not so long ago, or a little while ago. Of course, there's a risk with it. If you don't, you sign somebody who was in good form 2 seasons ago, and it looks like a terrible piece of recruitment. But it looks as though the risk is worthy of the price and the fee and the excitement that's sort of being almost headlined around Callum Lang's name right now.
And another name that's bubbled around towards the tail end of this week, Barnum resurfaced Friday afternoon. We are led to believe this one is pretty close as well. Tom McIntyre, strong championship level performer, comfortable in possession, box defending a key part to his game, and exactly what Pompey have been after. Not to say replace Sean Raggett, because I really think he's stepped up a level since he's come in for Regan Poole. But the hole that Regan Poole left is perhaps finally being filled in January.
Yeah, I think there's been times, even was it the last game that Mourinho actually wanted to play a 5 at the back, and in some ways, even yesterday, it was touched upon just now that the formation was quite fluid. It could be a 5, it could be a 4, or even a 3, depending on the play that was going on at that time. You really need 3, if not 4, fit, active centre backs to be able to call upon. When your centre back gets a yellow card, if you've got, if you're 1 or 2-0 up in the 60th minute, you take off that centre back. If Joe Morrell gets a yellow card, you take him off after 60 minutes, etc. You're used to that substitution, I think. Then I can't complain at these names that we're being linked with. The only worry I have about all of these links is that they've all seemed to come true in the summer. It's just, where's all these leaks coming from? Who's leaking them from the club, and is this going to see us in trouble in the future? Because they like I say, they're tending to come true. So, you might get a few clubs down the line and be like, I'm not a fan of that.
Callum Lang was one that was heavily being pushed by Wigan initially, because there was a lot of rumour that he was going to leave Wigan. I think a few people have put sort of 2 and 2 together, because I believe Rotherham, where Liam Richardson is currently, that's where the initial connection from. That looks like it's not going to happen now. So I think Wigan were pushing that. I think that's sort of where his name was always being. His name's been around a little while, Callum Lang, to be moving away from Wigan. So
yeah, I think the difference is, and just on that, Bon, I think that sometimes the difference this year, and maybe from summer as well, I think we're getting rumours leaked a lot later down the line in all of this, all these discussions. Whereas I think before it would be like a leak because Mourinho or whoever was the gaffer at the time had said, let's go have a look at him. Whereas I think now it's like, we're pretty much there. Now we're going to leak it. I think Tom and I were speaking about it earlier in the week. Don't know if the club's doing a little bit of tinkering themselves and just sort of feeding out little bits when it's nearly done. Gets people excited, gets people talking. The rest of the league also gets, a little bit more worried. But I agree. It was a case where we were getting leaked, and then it was all getting gazumped by another club, and that was really frustrating. And I think that it might be further down the line now that we're getting little seeds.
Well, the seeds are hopefully being spread, and as I've said a couple of times, let's hope that some of these are organised and in the door before Tuesday's trip to Oxford. Lovely segue. Let's move on to chat about that, shall we? I'm pleased to say that all of the 4-0 Sunday Live panel tonight will be attendance on both sides of the divide. We are a couple of minutes behind where I wanted to be with this, Wardy, so we may trim this down slightly. Would you agree? And I'm not trying to take the mick with this whatsoever. Would you agree with me in saying that the only consistency is inconsistency at Oxford United right now? Because looking from the outside in, that's certainly what it seems like.
Yes. I can expand further. Yeah,
please.
I think it is. It wasn't before we had our sort of mid-season, midlife crisis, and it sort of has been a little bit topsy-turvy since. We looked in a very, very good shape. We looked in a position where we didn't want to waste the start to the season that was so strong, and there's a few doubts at the moment as to sort of which direction we're going and where we're going. It's not a crisis. It's not a crisis. We didn't expect to be really where we were. I know it's nice and easy for me to say that now where it's not going so well, but I did this show last year, and we were coming into a game where we couldn't score a goal, let alone win a game to save our life. So of course, the feeling ahead of a game against Portsmouth is very different to what it was last season. The 2 games against Pompey, the first one was it was a little bit earlier than this, but the second one, I believe, was sort of in the middle of our relegation dogfight that we're currently in. And that 1-1 point in the end played a massive result really in that chase. So, of course, our feelings do feel a little bit different compared to last season. This season, like you say there, it's been very inconsistent. I think Des Buckingham is still sort of working out what he's trying to do. I still believe I'm not going to go as I've calmed down since this morning's T-Lock filming, so I'm not going to go as crazy as I did there. But I think yesterday's first half performance was really, really poor. I think, and I was going to say, if Bristol Rovers took even more of their chances that they did have and took more advantage of the dominance that they sort of had over Oxford in that first 45, it could have been an even more damning scoreline come half time. I think Pompey have the ability to do the exact same thing. But I think Oxford, it would have been a bit of an eye-opener. So if I'm going to twist it in a very, very slight positive, I think Oxford are going to be really up for this game on Tuesday and understand that they've got to put things right, because that first half was totally unacceptable. And also we know that, Pompey are going to come there and play a good brand of football. Also, I think naturally players do sort of step up when that's the case. I think players do step up and naturally when the league leaders are in town, they do sort of up their performance levels. So we'll have to see what we do. No, we're not a useless team. We're just sort of going through this sort of inconsistent patch at the moment.
Not a place with an awful lot of happy memories, Barn, Oxford, for Pompey fans over the years. I know we have a little bit of a laugh and a joke in the 4-0 crew chat. Plenty of goals in it for this fixture, at least a goal in every game since 2015. That is 16 consecutive meetings in all competitions and playoffs. But because Mr. Alex Hayward is in attendance, cue the 0-0 full-time scenes. What are you expecting from Tuesday?
I think I'm hoping that form just becomes a part of it. Gaz's prediction is exactly what I was going to hope for. Just a nice, comfortable 2-0. I think we just need to build on the confident play that we did at Port Vale. That would have hopefully injected a lot of confidence back into any players that were maybe losing a little bit of a dip in their form and confidence. But I'm confident as long as we don't play like we did last season. It was last season when we had a frustrating draw, wasn't it? And lots of times where the ball was just being cried to be kicked into or launched into the box, and Rafferty kept turning backwards. It's what are you doing? As long as we don't do any of that and we play like we've done this season, then we should be good. I'm glad, unfortunately for Jack, that we're playing Oxford when we are, because I wouldn't have liked to play Manning's Oxford.
It is nice, actually, isn't it, Pepe, that we kind of come into this Pompey on a bit of an up, as you've already mentioned tonight on the show, 2 back-to-back 1-0 wins away from home, with Oxford experiencing this little bit of a dip in form. It does feel like a bit of a perfect storm, though, because this is Pompey. And I know we've said already this season that the group is different, and they've shown that is the case in large part. It's still a tough game, and it is also a game where we then go another game in front of the likes of your Boltons and your Peterboroughs. So that's something to be thought about as well. There's another game in hand that they have.
Yeah, exactly. And we need to make games count. But when it's a case like that, we need to go to wherever and get 3 points regardless, because there's 18 games, 19 games to go in the season. You're going to get to a point where you need to win every game. If you want to get promoted and win the league, you need to win every game regardless. Go back to Ipswich last season. They had a bit of a dodgy run over the New Year and Christmas period and saw it through, and then turned every team they played over. They lost to Forest Green, I think, last year on Sky, and turned it around and came second in the league. So Pompey do need a win. I'd rather play Oxford now with the run they're on, with the form that we've just picked up now, rather than at the time. I think we were meant to play them mid-November. Was it around that point? And that would have been pretty much first v second, or somewhere around there. And I think that would have been the same week we lost, or week after we lost 4-0 to Blackpool, or week before. So that could have then changed the complexion of that game as well. So I'm glad we're playing them now, and we need to make this count. And regardless, yes, it's Oxford and they're on a dodgy run, but we need to pick up 3 points, and anything but a win won't do, I don't think.
I completely agree. And I'd also you're very welcome. Thank you for your contributions. I'd also put to Hayward that Pepe talked in the first part of what he was saying there about you getting towards the end of the season where you need to win every game. With 17 left on the list, it's a 10-win, draw a couple, lose a couple. Can we afford to lose 5? How many draws can you take? It's that kind of time when you're working things out. But I would say Pompey can do 10 wins out of 17, because that's what we've done for the rest of the season. Given even the bad patch over Christmas and New Year, that still makes 10 wins out of 17 achievable. So start that with Tuesday.
Yeah, and 10 wins in worst case scenario, that gets you to 89 points from what we're currently at. I feel like 10 wins gets us to where we need to be, but we're still at the end of the season going must win, must win, must win. And that's where Pompey falter, where we have everything in our hands in the sense of we just win and we're fine. But we've had too many seasons in recent years where it's been like, okay, we haven't won that game, let's get to the next one and we'll just win an extra one. And then we just run out of time. And I think that if we can get ourselves to sort of 12 wins, few draws, maybe lose 3 or 4, I think we'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, stuff like this, it's a great position to be in. It's one where we are looking at Oxford and thinking we've got to go and win so we stay top, not we've got to go and win so we stay in the hunt. It's very much the complete opposite of this, and I think that it's a good opportunity. We're playing Oxford potentially at a right time. Equally, I don't know when the right time is. You play a team full of confidence. It's probably a better game, more on the floor. It's two good teams going at it. This time it'll be Oxford scrapping out to see what they can get, and that doesn't usually allow for a great game of football. I think that it's going to be an interesting one. I think it's hilarious that Pompey just have so many teams in this league where it's like, oh well, it should be a good game or an easy game, but it's Oxford, but it's Charlton, and it's just like it's because we've been in the league for too many bloody seasons. Everybody's done us at least 3 times. But yeah, Oxford's never been a great.
Oh, I think we may have. Oh no, we're back. Oh no, we're.
You got me?
There we carry on.
Headphones out. The Harrison header is a nightmare that I keep going back to in my head in the playoffs. But yeah, different season. You go up. These are the sorts of games you turn it around and you go, actually, this is the season when we're getting 3 points. And
just finally, Barn, on Oxford, and then we'll get some score predictions in. And I've got one more question for Jack as well. How much more important, and we've had this conversation off camera and off air and off everything sort of just between us, either on the way to the football or at the football, how much more important is points on the board at this stage of the season than games in hand? Because how many times have Pompey been in the situation where we go, oh, if we win those 3 games in hand, we're back in the playoffs and we're 4th. But actually we're in a position where we've got the points.
Those games in hand, I've tried to make sense of when they're even going to come for those teams, particularly Bolton and Peterborough. I think it is. They've got them. I don't think they even come till March. Yeah, it's not until early to mid-March that they come about. So we need to keep putting the pressure on and almost play as if we're playing the catch-up. But we've got an advantage in that sense that we're already where we are. You're absolutely right. It's all good and well saying you've got 3 games in hand, 4 games in hand, whatever it is Bolton have got. If you don't win them, they're not games in hand. So we've already got those points and we should be satisfied we've got those. I agree with what Hayward was saying, that I think 10 out of 17 is not enough. You look at the way the teams finished last season, they were all unbeatable. Wednesday, Ipswich and Plymouth all looked like they could beat every single team week in, week out. And if that happens again, we're going to have Bolton, Oxford, perhaps Peterborough, Derby, a whole number of teams pushing us. I think we need to be looking at more like 12 or 13 wins,
which is tight. If
you ignore the spell of draws that we've had at times, then we can absolutely do it.
I think also a lot of those games in March and April are against most of the teams in the top 10 at least. The next 6 games are probably the most favourable 6 games we've got till the running. And then you've got maybe a Burton sprinkled in between playing Derby or whenever we play those teams. But you've got your Bolton penultimate away game of the season. Lincoln will be a tough one to end the season. Wigan are in there. So it's going to be huge running, and we need to be picking up point. We said this a month ago when we were playing teams that on paper we should be beating and have lost, but we need to pick up. If we want to be about promotion this year, we need to be picking up wins in the next 6. Look at that. Yes, okay, Charlton. We always struggle against Charlton, but they're down there. They're 4 points above relegation. We need to be putting them to the sword. Reading are down there struggling. Cambridge, Carlisle, but Bolton turned them over 4-1 yesterday. Northampton are a good side. They're in the top 10 now, but should be beating them. All these teams we should be beating, okay, other than Oxford and both there. But those teams there, if we want to be serious about promotion, we should be getting 3 points from them, regardless of, they're Oxford, they're Charlton. We need to be beating them.
Final point was to you, Wardy, was on this graphic, and I'm glad that Pepe's brought it up in what he's saying. That's a nice sort of illustration between Oxford to Oxford in terms of the away leg for Pompey and the home leg. That's quite an attainable run in there, isn't it? Given where these teams are at this moment in time, yes, we're taking it one step at a time. Yes, it completely changes the narrative if we go and lose on Tuesday night from a Pompey point of view. But things are going to get tough after that, as we haven't got the graphic for it, but it is a difficult run. But then September was a difficult run for Pompey, and we came through that with flying colours. So how important are our points now before a difficult run?
Yeah, massively. I agree with Pepe to a certain extent. I think you've got games there that it's not about because you're Pompey you've got to win them. It's because you're a team that are going for promotion. You've got to win them. I think that's a different narrative completely. I think if you were going to be put it with a different spin, I think sometimes that can get a little bit dangerous, and sometimes teams can sort of get stuck in this league for even longer when you start looking at games in a different way. Actually, if you've got to look at your expectation and the aspirations that you have as a football club, Pepe's right. You've got to win those games of football. It's the same as if we're in your position, we'd have to go and say, look, we're playing Portsmouth, but if we want to be taking points off you, we've got to get a good result against you. It works either way, and that'd be the same whoever you're playing. And again, you're in a position where you're playing teams that have also got things to play for themselves. Carlisle have got things to play for. We're not at the point of the season yet where teams are dead and buried. You've still got teams that are searching for points. Reading are the same, Carlisle are the same, Cambridge are the same. Charlton want to get out of this mess, and they can have a manager by the 24th of February. So you don't quite know where these football clubs are going to be. So when you look at run-ins, I understand, why it's a good chat, but you don't know where these teams are going to be, and you don't know what they're going to be playing for. And again, what they're playing for now could be something completely different in 3 weeks' time. We don't know where we'd be, when we play you, whenever it is, the end of February, start of March. That's how things can change so quickly. And we couldn't predict your Christmas period. We didn't think you were going to drop points like you did. So we didn't know where we were going to be when we played you in January. It's very, very difficult to call. But if you've got aspirations, you've got to win the majority of those games, definitely.
That is it. Our hour is up. Barn, what is your... are you going to go with Graz then from what he said at the start of the show in terms of score prediction?
I'm going 2-0 Oxford and 2-0 to me at the bowling.
Oh, yes. Is that Peps isn't coming bowling. He's bottled it, sadly, Barn.
I've not bottled it. I've got to drive people. I could just say no to my mate. And
he's 7-10 split.
I could do. Yeah.
Always thinking about it. Hayward, what are we saying?
I'm not going to say 0-0 just because otherwise I think I'll just bridge it before I get to Oxford. I'm going to say 2-1 Pompey. We're going to do it, and we're just going to potentially scrape for a little bit, but yeah, 2-1. We're going to go and get
all jokes aside, if it is 0-0, Hayward, you are never coming to a game again.
Yeah. I will completely. I leave every group chat. I will never.
Blackpool hotel rooms cancelled. It's all falling apart. I was going to say, it's amazing the telepathic nature of that, and Jack will back me up on this. I actually went for a 2-1 Pompey earlier on today as well, so with no consultation with the Hayward either. Jack, what are we saying?
I'm going to stick to what I said earlier. I'm going to say 1-1. I'm quite happy that the pressure is not as much on us as it would have been a few weeks ago. I think there would have been a lot more Oxford versus Pompey would have been built up in a different way. I think we're going to be going in there with a point to prove, because I think we've also got to remember we're still 7th in League One. We're not, we've still got a good group of players that are the early stages of the season. And even a few weeks ago when we have played teams that, we have been looking okay. I just think because of the last few games, the last few games are the reason why this conversation, I think, is slightly different. I don't think we'd have had as many Pompey wins if you played us a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So I think that's maybe a little bit of recency bias, and I can completely get it. So I'm going to go 1-1. I think we're going to sort of go there with a little bit of a point to prove, but I'm glad we're not going there with the pressure and the favourites, to be honest, because that's nice, I think.
No wins at the Kassam since Boxing Day. Be purely Pompey, wouldn't it? AP said all we can do is win as many as possible. Joseph's going for a 2-1. Martin's agreeing with Jack Ward. Football Podcast saying a 1-1. Pompey Lad 69 is saying a 2-1 Pompey. 1-0 from Ryan. 3-0 from Visible Comet. Dan saying 1-0 Pompey. We've got a Slimy, whatever that is, with a nice little Santa hat Union Jack, liking the profile. 3-1 Pompey. Martin can't see Pompey losing. Ollie's going for a 2-1 Pompey. Use 0 Pompey 2 from the Superman that is Dan Richardson. Logan's enjoyed the stream, so thank you very much indeed for that. Top left guy talking truth. Agree with him. First time for everything for the Jack Ward Football Podcast. 2-0.
Normally I'm not very liked here, so I'm glad that
you got the love, mate.
Now that you're not sticking up for Carl Robinson, we like you.
Yes. Yeah. Or some of us know him by other names, don't we, Barn? 2-0 from Pompey. It's going to be hard, but Pompey will win 3-1. Pepe, you have the closing score.
I thought you were never going to come to me.
I get through everyone, and then we end on a high, don't we?
Nah. Well, I'll say 1-0 Oxford. No, I'm joking. 3-1 Pompey. Bishop to score. Raggett to hit one from about 35 yards. If Raggett hits one from 35 yards, I'll fly. 3-1 Pompey and Jack Ward to cry at full time.
Lovely. There we go. Well, on the stream tonight, Gaz flew back off to Malta, Pepe lipped someone off, and I don't know what a penalty is. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Tuesday night. Play at Pompey.
Play at Pompey.